Right. Okay, guys. We're live. We're live. We're live. We're live. We're live. I apologies about. I don't know, really know what happened, to be honest. I was using a different restream with OBS and like that, and it just seemed to just completely mess up and buffer. So I'm gonna have to look into that. So because I had a good slideshow sort of prepared. But anyway, I'll just go video, just audio live, video wise, and so that so we can be interactive and stuff. So, but anyway, it is Old Man G here, back again with another post match reaction. And Manchester United to Chelsea new, Chelsea new, Manchester United to Varchester United. There's a lot to talk about this game. I already seen in the comments in the previous video. Shout out to Jamie. Shout out to you. But to a lot of people that were talking about Lingard and all the rest of it. So, and a good win for Manchester United, guys. If I'm honest, when I looked at let me start with the idea that this is a massive win. This is a massive, massive. I can't stress this enough. This is a massive win for Manchester United. So I did say in my preview, if any of you guys have watched from preview, Wasaski jumping, hi mate, thank you for joining the chat. And Jamie, have always loved VAR. Really, I know a lot of. We're going to talk about VAR. We are going to talk about VAR, but the most important thing for me was the win, because I do think, and I'll put this out there now because I want to get the negative stuff out of the way first, is that I do think that in terms of how we played, I don't think that when I look at Chelsea's style of play, was better than our style of play. It's as simple as that. Chelsea's style of play, was better than our style of play. Shout out to you guys from Poland, Waski jumping. Shout out to you guys. Yeah, Chelsea's style of play was better than our style of play. No doubt of a lie about that. But the thing is that when I looked at that lineup, and was like, right, okay, they're playing Pedro and Batshuayi and Willian in our front three. I thought, you know what, our defense is going to be fine. Our defense is going to have an absolutely a field day dealing with these players, because they're not really going to have a chance, to be honest. And we're going to talk about defense, because I have a personal man of a match from this game. And it's not what most people think, but we'll get onto that. I think generally everyone in this United squad had a very, very, very good performance. Like I said, 3 massive important points for Manchester United. I will get the table up in a second as we go through this, but what it means is that we essentially are only 3 points away from Chelsea now, and Chelsea have to play Spurs at the weekend. So, should Spurs win, then suddenly, and if we win, assumingly, we'll obviously be on the same number of points as Chelsea. Where are the Marshall? Where are the Marshall haters? Where are the Marshall haters? Because there are lots of. Let's get even against this game. Let's get into this game. Can we talk about how good Bayer was? Yes, because he is actually, and I'm going to go into. He's my man of the match. We're going to talk about that in a second as well. But let's actually look at this game. Let's get the elephant. Let's get the elephant out of the room here. Okay, VAR. Okay, the title of this actually is Varchester United. And let's be frank, VAR helped Manchester United in this game. It did. That's not a bias. That's not a bias at all. VAR helped Manchester United in this game. The first decision. Now, I would argue that I think that the 3 VAR decisions that we had. So the first VAR decision, look at that, when Harry Maguire put his studs against, I think it was Batshuayi. If you take bias out of it, that's a red card. I think if you look at that in the context of the law, I think that's a red card. And I think unless it's because of Harry Maguire's temperament or his personality, etc., on any other day, that's given as a red card. And Son, like I say, showed clips of Son doing something similar. Son was sent off. So to be honest, for me, I think that is actually a red card. I think that you could argue it's still obviously a refereeing decision, but you could argue that Manchester United were very, very, very lucky for Harry Maguire to win the pitch and for us to be with 10 men. And the fact is, if we were with 10 men, the dynamic of the game changes. I still think that we might not necessarily have lost the game, because honestly, Chelsea did create a lot of chances in that first half. In the second half, even with 11 men, they really didn't create much at all. There really was no threat. And I think Manchester United can do themselves proud in the fact that like we were solid. And I was watching this whole second half, especially after the second goal, thinking, right, guys, you know, we you know, I have no doubts that Manchester United are basically going to be able to see out this game. I've got no doubts about that. No doubts about it at all. When it comes to how we performed on the game, well, okay, that's the first VR decision. Sorry, it's all over the place, but this is the first VR decision. Second VR decision, I completely agree with. Chelsea obviously get a headed goal from a corner, and it's ruled out because of the push from Azpilicueta onto a Brandon Williams. A lot of people say, "Oh, but Fred pushed Azpilicueta on to Brandon Williams," and that's true. There is an element of that. That is true. Fred did push Azpilicueta onto Brandon Williams. If you actually look back at the video, while Fred does accidentally push Azpilicueta actually uses both of his hands. This is the key here. He uses both of his hands to actually push Brandon Williams. So it's not like he just fell into Brandon Williams because of the push from Fred. It's more like he got pushed, and then Azpilicueta then pushes Brandon Williams. And in that sense, it's a foul. The goal was right to be ruled out. I don't think Chelsea should have any complaints. You know, it's like, for example, when David De Gea in the Everton game was impeded by the Everton players. We should have got that goal shouldn't have stood. We should have got a foul for that, and we didn't. So these things do balance, you know. So, but I cling to it to that. If you're fouled, a foul's a foul. Simple as that. The third VAR decision that helped us is offside. It's simple as that. Like it's you know, at the end of the day, Giroud's foot is offside. Okay, I don't actually get why people are complaining about this offside decision, because I have more empathy if it was like his arm or his shoulder, but it's his foot. You score with your foot. So if your foot is offside, even if it's marginal, I'm sorry, but it's offside. It's as simple as that. It's as simple as that. There should be no debate. Even if it's his marginal foot, whatever, his foot is offside, and you actually score with your foot. So there should be no debate. No, oh, we got lucky, but with that, certainly with that foot decision, VAR got that spot on, and there should be no complaints from that point of view. Let me know also what you think, guys, in the comments. So we'll try and get your comments up in the video as well. Let me know what you think. Girodonga says, "Can we talk about it?" Yeah, okay. So I'm gonna talk about just a few. I'm just gonna name a few. Just quickly talk about the goals that we scored, and then a few stand-up performances before I actually do player ratings. I did have a slideshow for that, but that's messed up previously, so we're gonna have to just make do. So 2 goals, 2-0 to Manchester United. First goal. I don't care what anyone's saying about Wan-Bissaka, but that cross by Wan-Bissaka was exquisite. It was absolutely exquisite. Wan-Bissaka had made an exquisite cross, crossed the ball into the box. We said he hasn't been crossing enough, although I'd argue against Burnley in the last couple of games, Wan-Bissaka has been putting more crosses in than he usually does. And had we been able to finish, we'd have been able to, we might have actually beaten Burnley. But Wan-Bissaka, great assist, good cross, and Martial with a exquisite header. And for all those Martial haters who are like, "Oh, Martial's lazy. Oh, Martial can't do anything. Oh, Martial, don't Martial," or all the rest of it, you know. So you can sit down. Sit down. Yes, I accept that Martial's performances have not been where Jamie Valpino says, "Completely agree with you, bro. Thanks, man. A long time no see, buddy, as well, but it's good to see it in the chat. I appreciate it." You know, the way I sort of see it is that you know, it's difficult to play as a number 9. It is difficult to play a number 9, and the reality is that Manchester United, we struggled up in the season to create chances. Okay, much like when Lukaku was here, if we can't create chances for forward play, that we're not going to score goals, and that means that when we do get a chance, we have to put it away. Otherwise, you know, it's going to be barren. And the reality is that if you look at this game, if you look at the United game, for most of the first half, Chelsea created a lot of chances. That's what I'm talking about when we're talking about creating chances for forward plays. It's just the problem is that they were just toothless up front, and that's why missing 3 clear chances is the difference between him and Martial. Martial needs a few and puts in the way. So that's the first goal we scored. Jamie Wilburn says Trent-like stuff. I completely agree. Talbot, thank you for coming back. Appreciate it. Second goal now. Now it's dubious because the second goal was scored by Harry Maguire, who people would say shouldn't be on the pitch. But we'll put that aside. The reality is Bruno Fernandes, who, and shout out to Bruno Fernandes, by the way, because he made I think about 15 minutes before the corner, he took a free kick that hit the underside of, sorry, not the underside, hit the post basically and came off. And we've been crying for someone to be good at set pieces, for someone to be good at deliveries. And it seems that we've got that in Bruno Fernandes. He is a set piece specialist. He is tell us as we need a channel about Liverpool FC. You could probably go about Liverpool FC, but I'm not going to create a Liverpool FC channel as a United fan. No way, Jose. But we have that in Bruno Fernandes now. We have that in a player that has a very, very good delivery, that can take good set pieces and can pass for Bellingham, can create chances. So Bruno Fernandes, even though for a lot of people say, oh, Bruno Fernandes was very quiet in the game, but when he did come into the game, and he often did, like he created chances. He helped this team, you know. So, and not to mention the fact that the leadership him and Fred have shown in that midfield. But it was a good finish by Harry Maguire. We should be doing that a lot more often with corners. If Fernandes is going to be on corners, deliver it up to Harry Maguire, slab head, come in, head the ball, bada bing, bada boom. You know, that's what we need. That's the reality. That's what we need. That's why I thought we bought Harry Maguire. So I'm surprised that we haven't actually used that advantage of his height, of his heading ability. I don't know why. I don't know why. So those were 2 goals, fantastic goals. And Chelsea, to be honest, really didn't, aside from obviously, yes, they had the 2 VR goals allowed. In the second half, they really didn't create that much. They really didn't create that much at all. And let's just talk about some individual performances right now, because I'm going to get into the player ratings in a second. But you got to shout out Eric Bailly here. You have to shout out Eric Bailly. Eric, you know, so some people saying that if Eric Bailly is fully fit, he's on VVD level. Okay, this is the thing with Bailly. If Eric Bailly is fit and stays fit, because he does put his borderline as a defender, which is good, but he gets injured. But if he is fully fit, Eric Bailly did in that game more than Phil Jones has done in this entire season. Like, the composure that Eric Bailly had on the ball was absolutely, United, shout out to you, buddy. The composure that he had, his defensibility. There was one in particular where I think it was Drew actually when he came on, was through on goal, boom, Iceman, Eric Bailly comes in and wins that ball. And I was like, my guy, Eric Bailly. For me, Eric Bailly is my man of the match. I know Martial scored. There are a lot of good performances. Fred, Bruno Fernandes, Wan-Bissaka, Shaw, everyone. But for me, we're talking about a player that's been injured all season. This is why, for me, he gets man of the match, is that Eric Bailly has been injured all season. This is his first United game, first full 90 minutes for Manchester United. And he comes into the team and he makes that performance. That's why, for me, he gets man of the match, because other players would have to, you'd say, oh, he needs to sort of settle in, he's rusty, blah, blah, blah. Eric Bailly comes in and it's almost like, whoa, that's how you defend. We completely forgot that the potential defender that we have. So Eric Bailly, for me, had an absolute a masterclass, you know, in my opinion. Ian says Bailly is the beast. James says man like Eric Bailly dies for the badge. He does, and that's what the players that we need at Manchester United. That's why for me, when we say we gave him a new contract, I know Bailly gets injured, but even if, to be honest, even if we had Bailly for 10 games of the season, that's still more than Phil Jones offers to me. Centre back wise, Lindelof, Bailly, Maguire, and for me, we recall Smalling. Those are the four we have. Get rid of Phil Jones. And when obviously we have Twansibi's there, you know, so we'll see what Twansibi does, obviously. United also says, sit down, Ollie out fans. Well, you know, we'll get to that. We'll get to that. Telvan Williams was good, fair play. James Phillips, I give so much credit to Eric Bailly, say he did start off rusty. They gave away 2 passes, but turned into it around. And like I said, it was a masterclass. This is what I'm saying, you know. So for me, I know there'll be a lot of people that will say that Bruno Fernandes, that Fred, that Shaw, that Martial should be man of the matches. But for me, I'm looking at the fact that Bailly hasn't played the game all season. He's just come back because Lindelof. Like the thing is, what is thing is that Lindelof couldn't play because he had an illness. If Lindelof could have actually played in this game, and if Lindelof played in this game, would we have actually won with the Lindelof Maguire partnering? I felt there was more. You know, this is the thing. It's like Bailly for me compare with any of the centre backs. I think that you have a much better centre back pairing than Maguire and Lindelof, in my opinion. But it wasn't just him. Let's be real. It wasn't just him. Obviously, Maguire scored the goal. Fair play to him. I think Luke Shaw and Daniel Williams really tried. Williams for me, he's still a bit rusty, you know, but going forward and also, you know, putting himself out for the badge, the tactical fouls, you know, getting himself in. I think he's saved us. He's basically the reason why I don't think we need to go out and get another left back. You know, to be frank, I don't think we do. And Shaw, to be honest, played like he'd not had the injury. You know, so which was good. It was a good performance by Luke Shaw, in my opinion. Guys, actually, the top 10 United players video, which you can see on this channel. So obviously, I'll be doing another video this week, and there'll be a few interesting entries that might come into that because Eric Bailly wasn't even in the top 10 list this year, and he is coming in. He is coming in. Champions League tomorrow. Tell our fair players that you're a Liverpool fan, you watch that. We look further up in the field. I think that I think you can see it when we watch the game that the understanding that Bruno Fernandes and for those been watching, please like the vid, and share to REDEVILSTUDIO. I really appreciate it. You can see the understanding that Bruno Fernandes and Fred have, probably because let's be real here. Bruno Fernandes has just come to Premier League. His English is probably not that great, and Fred, obviously being Brazilian, because obviously they speak, it's a slightly different Portuguese, but still Portuguese. So there'll be an understanding between the two. And I think that is very, very key for Manchester United going forward. Communication is very, very, very important. And people shouldn't underestimate the problem of a language barrier. Okay? So the fact that you have Fred and Bruno Fernandes who are who essentially can speak Portuguese, can communicate to each other is very, 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 very important. And I think that's what's almost given us a bit of stability in the middle. Aside from obviously Matic, you know, I'd argue, to be honest, Matic probably was our worst performer in this game. The amount of times Matic gave the ball away in the whole game was pretty bad. His passing wasn't great. It looked like he was off. And this is someone he probably is going to drop out of the top 10, you know, Nemanja Matic, you know. So Jamie Lapino, I missed your streams, bro. School kept me busy. Oh yeah, man. I miss you. I miss you guys. You and Ilya as well, man. So I'm trying to do a few things differently and spicing things up a bit. So especially doing these sort of face things as well. So, but I really, really appreciate you guys coming on, stopping on, supporting the channel. So, because I only really do this because I enjoy interacting with you guys in the comments, really. And I love discussing all things Manchester United. So if you're new listening, hit the like, hit the notification button. Apologies again for the issue with the previous video. There was some technical issues, and I really, really do apologize about that. So yeah, the understanding in the midfield between Bruno and Fred for me is very very, very key. Is very, very, very key. that's key going forward. And I want to say this as well. There was a time, I think, in the game when Martial got fouled by I think it was Zuma. Yeah, that tackle by Zuma, which was, I would argue, it's a bit dangerous. It's a bit dangerous. Starts showing, and you know, after the question comes on, says get up, blah 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 blah, and the two players that come across are Bruno Fernandes and Fred. They literally come on. They come to them and they're like, get away from him. We're Manchester United stuff. And I'm like, and that is what I like to see, guys. You know, I was surprised that there weren't other United players coming around. The passion that Fred and Bruno Fernandes he's just turned up to the club. He's just turned up and he's like, get away from Martial, man. Okay, get away, get lost. I can see that. That's all I ask. That's all we ask as fans, is that you just have a passion for the badge and you fight for the badge. And I see that in Bailly, I see that in Wan-Bissaka, I see that in Fred, I see that in Bruno Fernandes. I even saw that in Igalo with the few minutes he was on, being physical and trying to hold up on the ball. And I would have liked to see more of Igalo. And to be honest, man, he was literally thrown goal, a better touch, and that's a debut. Literally first touch, boom. The highlights would have been great, you know. So it's unlucky that he didn't put that away, you know. But there we go. In front of obviously them, Daniel James and Martial sort of playing. I think Daniel James works really, really hard. I think this was probably one of his better performances. I wouldn't say it's a brilliant performance, but I think it was a better performance than how he's usually played. And Martial, obviously, Mr. Ice Cold. Martial, the player who a lot of fans seem to be slating recently because he's not been great. And I accept to a certain extent that he could be playing better, but I think a lot of that does have to do with, one, how we set up, and also two, the fact that we have not been creating enough chances for him to put away. So I think that is actually very, 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 very important. Tauber says, I love when every United fan was saying, as even saying Varchester was very much Liverpool. Yeah, so I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people saying Varchester United. I put it in the title, Varchester United, because let's be frank, VAR did help. If there was no VAR, if there was no VAR, would Manchester United have lost that game? We probably would have drawn it. I don't think we'd have lost the game because we still would have had 11 players. But if there was no VAR, then obviously both goals would have stood. So it'd have been 2-2. So I think if there was no VAR, we probably would have. It would have been a draw, maybe. But you just don't know about these things. It just is what it is. Telva says, I wish to see United in top 4 again. It's weird that there's no United. Well, we push on. We push on. Because of that loss, obviously Chelsea are in danger. I'll actually get the table up. So because that's probably what you guys want to see instead of just my ugly mug. So just give me 2 seconds. Let's get this. So this is the league table coming up now. If everyone can, there we go. Okay, so as you can see, guys, I'm going to ignore Liverpool, obviously. Chelsea, and this is the key here. Chelsea, 26 played, 41 points. Spurs, 26 played, 40 points. Sheffield United, which we can't ignore, by the way, 26, 39 points. United, 26, 38 points. 2 points ahead of Wolves on 36. Everton on 36, 26 played, and Arsenal with 34. So we are, how many points are we ahead of Arsenal? 1, 2, 3, 4. We're 5 points ahead of, 4 points ahead of Arsenal. Really wish we'd actually beaten them at Emirates, but there you go. Draco, brother, thank you for stopping by. I really appreciate it. I'll come around to your channel and leave some comments and likes as well if you're doing a post-match reaction. So we need to get on 100% Manchester United again. Fred was immense, but I give it to Bailly. Exactly. Great victory, man, says Draco. Telba, but they're going to win the Euro now. Playing, well, I don't think United's going to win the Europa. Well, we'll see. Ilya, Fred the Red, for me, was man of the match. Fair enough. Matteo Milan, well done. United fan, yes. Stay tuned. We're going to be doing a REDEVILSTUDIO live podcast tomorrow before the Champions League, and Milan is going to be a subject. James Villapano, man, you've come a long way. When I found you during the Perth Glory Watch Along, bro, keep growing, my. Oh, thanks so much, man. Like, this encouragement, I really, really appreciate the encouragement here. Like, we're still a very, very, very small channel, and we still, I think, only about 7 months gone. But hopefully, we'll just keep on going from strength to strength, you know, and build a community here, you know. So that's just what I want, really, you know. But I appreciate your ongoing support, guys. I really, really do. But as you can see in the table, guys, United are only 3 points away from fourth. 38 to 41. We are only 3 points, and Chelsea have to play Tottenham this weekend. If Spurs somehow beat Chelsea, and it'll be difficult because, to be honest, I think Spurs were very, very, very lucky to get that win. I really think that Aston Villa should have either gotten a draw, and then we would have been on the same number of points to be as Chelsea. Spurs. Sorry. But it is what it is. So I think that game is going to be interesting because I think either way, it's good because if Spurs do lose, we'll go ahead of Spurs into fifth. And as a lot of you already know, there is the potential for fifth place to be a Champions League spot. We need to aim for top 4. We do. But there is a possibility that fifth may be a Champions League spot, you know, so we'll see what happens. Don Ragnar, thanks for coming back, man. I appreciate apologies about the issues on the previous stream. The movement around Bruno has to improve. I agree with that. This is one thing, negative thing I'll say, you know, about the game, is that, you know, Chelsea's movement and Chelsea's distribution was better than United's. Let's be frank, you know, their passing, the amount of times they were able to get to cut us open and to get through us was ridiculous, you know, and that was a lot of the time. That was because of their movement, okay, and their passing quality. Our passing quality, I think, got better as the game went on and Chelsea got tired. But in the first half, had Chelsea had better finishers, we could have been at least 2 goals down. And I think that for me is the difference between, for example, when we went to the Emirates and lost, even against Burnley at home when Rodriguez finished in the way that he did. You know, the reality is that we need to improve. We do need to improve, and we set up in a very, very defensive way. In United next game, Chelsea versus Spurs. Like I said, I think whatever the outcome of that game, the most important thing this week is that we basically win our game. That's the most important thing. We basically win. We win our next game. That's the most important thing, because it's one thing to beat Chelsea at Stamford Bridge, and it's another thing to then lose again at home to Burnley. So we need to win. Matthew Milan says winning Europa League. Don Ragnar says Daniel James finished, can't see him developing on. For me, Don Ragnar, this is the thing. Daniel James to me was never supposed to be, well, one, you know, we just haven't used him right. That's the way I sort of see it, is that Daniel James should have always been almost equivalent to like how Dalot and the other youth players should be used. That's how Daniel James should have been. Instead, he's been thrown into the main team. I don't think that's right. He was always a potential player. And I just think that, and more to the point, he was a left winger in his previous club. We played him in a top 2, on the right, in the middle, all over the place. And that comes to coaching, you know. So I think there is potential there. I think the way I sort of see it is if Daniel James was under Klopp, he would be a very good player. And it comes to coaching, unfortunately. Telper says Bayern needs to win. Yeah, I mean, if I was Chelsea, I mean, there'll be a lot of Chelsea fans that are butthurt over this result. And fair play to them, because you could argue there are few, if some of those decisions went against us, I'd be annoyed. But for me, I'd be more concerned as a Chelsea fan with the fact that you've now got injuries to Kante and Christensen, and you're playing Bayern Munich. What? I know, is it next week? It probably is next week. We don't know how long they're going to be out for. You've already got injuries to Hudson-Odoi and Tammy Abraham. You know, there could potentially be a circumcisional sacrifice by Bayern Munich in the Champions League. So Chelsea needs to be more concerned about that, because if Lewandowski is on form, you know, you don't know what's going to happen. You're doing Champions League watch-alongs tomorrow. So what I'm hoping to do is, so not on this channel, but me, Josh, and Shawnee, who do the Red Live podcast, we're probably going to do a Liverpool versus Atletico Madrid watch-along, not on this channel, but on my sister channel called The Football Studio. So if you go up and subscribe to my sister channel called The Football Studio, I'll probably doing the watch-along there. But we're going to do a Champions League preview on this channel. So that's basically how it's going to work. So Daniel James was pissing me off. Meanwhile, United went on a Liverpool. Yeah, because he actually played all right in that Liverpool game, actually. The balance across the defense of Eric Bailly is so much better. So let me quickly just do my player ratings, actually, and then my man of match, and let me know who your man of match is in the comments as well. And then we'll sort of wrap things up, because I've got to head off. So first of all, David De Gea in goal. I think I give a 7. I don't think he had to make any massive saves or anything like that. But I think and there was that one issue of the post, but sorry, he had it covered. But good all-round solid performance. No issues, no mistakes. David De Gea gets a 7 for me. It's 19th of February. Chelsea playing Bayern? So that's this week. Jeez, man, really? Okay, I'd be very, very concerned if Chelsea playing Bayern Munich this week. Man, let me know. Is it 19th? Is this week? So yeah, I'd be very concerned. Eric Bailly for me gets a 9. He gets a 9 because, as I said, and for me, he's my man of the match, simply because for a player to come back and not play at all season, and then to come into what is a big game, because don't get, this is a big game, it's context. Injured, and then big game, and then coming in and producing that performance, for me, Eric Bailly gets a 9. Harry Maguire, I think, gets a 7.5. Yeah, I'll give him a 7.5. Even though he scored the goal, he was lucky not to be sent off. That was a very stupid thing for him to do. He is Manchester United's captain. He shouldn't be doing that. Yeah, they're fall and all the rest of it. I don't his reasoning so, but he was lucky, And as Manchester United's captain, he's got to act like a captain there. That is not a captain-like thing to do. You've got to think of your team here. If he'd been sent off, that'd been the most stupidest thing that captain could do. And to be honest, I'm looking at the United squad here. I'm looking at captain material, and if I'm honest, I think that as soon as Fred and Bruno Fernandes' English gets better, you make those guys captains, okay? Just because they're slightly older, and then maybe when Wan-Bissaka, who stays with the club a bit longer, I would give the captaincy to Wan-Bissaka. One of those. That's what I would do anyway. Don Anderson's man match. Give it up to Pastor Fred. Fair enough. Luke Shaw, I give a solid 8. I think he had a solid performance going forward. I think this is how Luke Shaw has played. He made 1 or 2 errors, but generally I think he was fine. Brandon Williams, I also give an 8 as well. I think again, the commitment, the passion for the badge, the playing for it, going forward, and really making a few tactical fouls. It was very good. So I can give Brandon Williams an 8 as well. I'm giving a lot of high ratings here. Matic, me, actually gets a 6.5. I think Matic, me, was actually the worst player on the field, in the sense that he lost the ball so many times, and then because of his pace, wasn't able to go and get it back. And his passing was not good today at all. Matic, me, had a very, very bad game. But at the same time, and hopefully in the next game, we switch to a sort of 4-3-3 like system, or 4-2-3-1, and go back to that, because I don't want us to continue with this 3-5-2 nonsense. So yeah, Matic 6.5. Have I missed out anyone out? But yeah, Wan-Bissaka. So Wan-Bissaka gets an 8.5. Wan-Bissaka. Wan-Bissaka's defensive performances. He made that brilliant cross, which is why I think he gets an 8.5 as well. I just think that he's underrated. I think I'm sickened that a lot of United fans are like, but he's not great going forward. Blah 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 blah. Why Wan-Bissaka? you know, because he's defensively poor, so he's making his tackles. Guys, the amount of last-ditch tackles when Chelsea carved us open that Wan-Bissaka intercepted, he is literally the Spider-Man. He is literally Mr. Iceman. So 8.5 and Wan-Bissaka. Don Wagner says, I just want to see Bruno carve open a defense for a killer ball, but Martial puts into the back of the net. A basic of number 10 to number 9 move that I've not seen at United in what feels like forever. To be fair, he almost did that, I think, at the end of the game. I think he played a killer pass through to Garlo, and I think Garlo just hit it at the keeper. So moving on, Fred, pass to Fred, 8.5 as well. I think Bruno Fernandes and Fred get 8.5s. Very, very, very good performances by both of them. Well, I'll give Bruno Fernandes an 8 slightly because Fred has been Fred has really take care, Tob. All the best, buddy. All the best. Thank you for joining the stream. 90 people watching, please like the vid, like the vid. If you're new to Red Devil Studio, you know, Fred has really. If it was not for Fred being fit, United would be in the bottom half of this table, possibly fighting relegation. I know that's an extreme thing to say, but we literally don't have any fit midfielders, and the fact that Fred is continuing to play and grow on and go from strength to strength, take care, Waski jumps, take care. For me, is great, and it's going to be interesting. It's going to be very, very interesting because Pogba at some point, and McTominay at some point will come back, and I'm just wondering, where do they go? Where do they play? Because you can't, for me, you can't drop Fred. You can't drop Fred. You can't drop Bruno Fernandes. You could possibly drop Matic, but I don't think that Pogba will play that Matic's role. And I don't think McTominay can really play that role, really. So it's interesting. If Pogba and Matic do come back, where do they fit into this team? It's a good question to have. Moving ahead, Daniel James. Dunlap says 4. I think that's a bit too harsh. I would say Daniel James. I'd say Daniel James. I would say Daniel James 6.5 like Matic. I think he had an okay game. I'll bump up. I'll be nice. I'll give him a 7. 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 I think that for what he is, and for the fact that he's been playing so many games over and over again, and the fact that we've used him wrongly, I think, you know, I'd say for what he did in this game, let's just give him a 7. Martial gets a 8 for me. Fantastic header for the goal. Sit down haters who say that Martial is awful. I think that a lot of fans were getting on his back, especially now we signed a Garlo. But Martial proved that this is what happens when you have a finisher. And that was the difference to me today, is that United had finishers and Chelsea didn't. It was as simple as that. Oh, and VAR. VAR was the 12th man for Manchester United. Let's not lie. Let's not lie. Don Wagner says, in due course, Fred over Kante. Well, Kante's injured now. So, yeah, who knows? Who knows? Who knows? Because Fred has passed the Fred, man. You know, so is doing bits. He's doing bits for us. He's doing bits for us. But, yeah, overall, good game. I still think there's still a few issues. And, again, like I said, it's no good for us winning this game and then going and losing the next game against a lesser team. But it was a very, very important win, and I'm so happy for Manchester United. Thanks to everyone who's watching. Please like, share, and subscribe to Red Devil Studio. Follow us on Twitter, United X. Ollie, is Ollie at the wheel? Is Ollie at the wheel? Let me know. Let me know. Have a nice evening, guys, and cheers.